Today we're talking about stories about toys? Toy stories, perhaps? Welcome to HowDoWeHuman. This is the podcast where we talk about all the weird and uncomfortable micro moments in life. I'm one of your hosts, Chris Binning.
And I'm one of your hosts, Evan Cox, and there's a snake in my boots.
And you've got a friend in us. We're talking about childhood toys.
Yeah.
But first, what we're talking about is Evan to find out how he's doing. Evan, how you doing?
Childhood boys, all
We're
grown
talking
up.
about childhood boys.
All grown up. Like the Rugrats. They're back. They're all grown up now. I never really saw that. But
I never
weirded me out when I
Yeah.
saw the animation. I'm doing all right. I've been using my CPAP. I've got the machine now. I don't remember if I had the machine last time we recorded.
You did not.
Okay, so I now have the machine. It's not like, because it'll tell you how your sleep went. It's a very smart machine. I'm surprised to learn. Automatic. It's able to tell when I stop breathing. It ups the pressure. But it'll tell me how many incidents I had the previous night, how many times or if my mask came unsealed at any point, how many times I took the mask off, shit like that. That's like, oh, cool. So you can kind of check. It's very much gamifying my sleep, which I love.
Yeah.
Like, let's get good sleep. So I had like average of one incident an hour last night. That seems to be my usual now. Versus 56.
I was going to say, big improvement.
It's a big improvement, which I had a call with my therapist yesterday, and I told her all this information, and she seemed like she had never heard of sleep apnea before, and was like, 56 times per hour doesn't seem that bad.
What?
And now she's not my therapist anymore.
Yeah.
Not strictly for that reason. It was coming to an end anyways. But I was like, well, what the fuck?
Yeah, what are you talking about?
She's never heard of a CPAP machine before? This was all new to her. I was like, okay. Anyways, what I'm here to talk about.
I've heard of these things.
Yeah.
And I'm stupid.
And you don't work in a hospital.
Right.
In the medical field. Granted, different field, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Anyways, here's the awkward thing I gotta talk about related to this shit. It's been a long road to get to what the fuck is going on, but basically, I've learned that if you have sleep apnea long enough, sleep apnea can have a very negative effect on acid reflux. Which I've always had really bad acid reflux. I'm like, oh, maybe that's related. Apparently, when you've had acid reflux for a very long time, you start to do damage to your very own esophagus. My favorite little boy of the body. My esophagus.
Really? That's your favorite little boy of the body?
My favorite. I love the stuff.
Okay.
But I've done enough damage to it that it's weak. Maybe that's why I like an underdog.
Yeah, that's true.
But, it's weak now, and that is what's supposed to, in a normal person, quote unquote, when air is coming in through your nose, goes straight to your lungs. That's it, baby. My esophagus is too weak. A lot of that air shooting right down to my stomach also. So the first night, that setting was off. I've talked to my doctor since then. They're able to remote change settings in the machine. It's awesome. But it was like I'm like, oh, I'm no longer unable to breathe and waking up, but I'm waking up because my stomach is full of air. I'm bloated, and I have to do a minute-long burp and or fart. And then those continue throughout my entire day. I'm just a burpy farty boy. My note for this story
Post it on our Instagram stories.
Burps and farts.
Yeah. Okay.
It's bad news. I don't like being this gassy.
Yeah.
I'm a whiny, gassy little baby. rolling around, and it's time to grow up.
Okay. Well, I
So
mean,
we're working on a fix. But
okay.
for now, I'm a burpy farty little boy.
Yeah. How's that going over in the house?
Great.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, it's clean air coming in.
Yeah.
So, you know, when a fart isn't horribly offensive, it's pretty funny.
Yeah. Yeah. As long as
So,
it's not like
dear God, what have you
nauseating
done?
to the people around you, it's pretty
You've
funny.
ruined our home.
Yeah. Right.
Chris,
Yes.
what are you doing? I
Well,
like learning it that
I
way.
thought I was
What are
having a
you
nice
doing?
conversation, but
What are you
perhaps
doing?
not.
How you doing?
Well, you mentioned it before we started recording, but as you can
That's true.
see, I've got a new look. I've shaved my head, kept the beard. Um, I had done this in like 2016, maybe 2017, somewhere in there, and the only reason that the date kind of sticks out more in my brain for when I did that was it was right around, I did it like the week before, or maybe even a couple days before, the riots in Charlottesville, where a lot of people were white, non-muscular men with shaved heads.
Yeah.
And
I also looked like this at that time.
not, not a great feeling to
No.
have gone from like, let's see how I can move forward with my hair loss, to then being like, I need to buy a wig or something immediately.
Or a very friendly hat.
Yeah. So there was that issue, and then also we were like a couple years, maybe still 3 or 4 years removed from the finale of Breaking Bad, but I had done that and then also had the goatee, and so
Yeah.
I looked both like a meth dealer and um huge racist.
It sounded like the cops were coming for you, Walter White.
Yeah, they were. You got me.
Yeah.
But
My
yeah.
baby blue.
The but now, I my hair loss has gotten worse, and even though many a targeted ad is like,
Mm.
how about you try our product to get your hair back?
Ingest our chemicals.
Yeah, exactly. Put these chemicals on your head and magically hair will grow, and we're not going to tell you how we do it. Um,
They never
I
do.
yeah, they never do. And also, like, I don't know, it just, if it's like, I know that people have had hair transplants and all that stuff, and whatever, they love it, great. But
They love it.
to me, it feels like I don't know how to describe it,
It's
but
disingenuous.
yeah, exactly. And like, if there's something like, if you're like, oh, I'm only happy with hair, then
Mm-hmm.
like, sure, you should probably get some
Get
hair.
on you.
Who cares?
Get some.
Get some hair. Get some.
That's a good slogan.
They should do like the Got Milk campaign, but
Mm.
instead it's Got Hair.
Put them in elementary schools.
Yeah, exactly.
Got hair.
Instead of a milk mustache, it's a regular mustache. um,
Yeah.
but I don't know. I just find a lot of those ads to be like very depressing, and
Yeah.
also disingenuous. So
Yeah.
I've never even like considered using any of those products.
Yeah.
But anyway, now I'm at least gonna keep the shaved head look for a couple months, and then decide if I want to um, have it forever or go back to some hair or what. But right now we're
Yeah.
in the trial phase, and
Boom.
most people that have seen it so far have been like, yeah, it looks good. I like the look. And only one time somebody's used the word skinhead, and only one
Oh,
time somebody's used Breaking Bad reference, even though
nice.
it's the beard and not the goatee.
Yeah.
I do have the glasses, so maybe that's a part of it. But yeah, so a big improvement from many years ago where
Yeah.
that was those were the main things I was being told. I've only gotten each of them once.
You were like, God, I wish I hadn't invested so heavily in tiki torches.
I know. I just love Polynesian culture. That
Terrible
is, this
times.
isn't really a toy, but I definitely, as a child,
Hmm.
the idea of having like tiki torches in the backyard was like the most awesome thing I could think of.
Kind of agree. Yeah, we never had them, but we'd go to other
Yeah, me neither.
people's. I mean, yeah, the haves and have-nots. Have-nots.
Yeah, but like I'd see them at Home Depot or Lowe's or
Yeah,
whatever, and I'd be like, "We gotta get these."
that's the life.
Yeah,
Someday. I don't know where that childhood wonderment went. Because I don't care. I don't need one. Maybe, maybe the riots had something to do with
you know
their
what?
image.
I think
Uh,
they did.
Significantly less appealing to me now, but I weirdly absolutely agree with that they were the coolest thing. Every time I'd be at someone's home and their parents had tiki torches, I was like, damn, that's pretty sick. Oh man, that's funny. Were you into childhood toys?
Yes, absolutely. And that, as silly as a of a question as that sounds,
Yeah,
like it does. I I don't want to immediately sound like a grumpy old man, but I'm
sure.
kind of like, do kids even play with toys anymore? Is it just the iPad?
Mm,
Um, but I had like a ton of toys.
yeah.
Um, my Beanie Babies were
Ooh.
my jam. Like the stuffed
Okay.
animals. I liked the toys where like what you do with them is like up to the child instead of like,
Yeah,
this is what our product does. This is the only way to use it. You know what I mean?
totally. There's a level of imagination.
Yes.
I mean, I was very into the well, okay, the action figures was
Sure.
my main jam. Which similarly, even if I mean, I was mostly buying Star Wars action figures, but it's not like you had to use those to tell a little Star Wars story.
Right.
They do other fun stuff. Just hang out.
They go to the grocery store.
They go to Home Depot. They look at the torches.
Yeah.
They go, "This was a long, long time ago, and we don't have to worry about this. Come on, Luke. Let's get some tiki torches." But what I was going to say when I waffled there a second, uh, when I was growing up, I don't know who started it, but we called my action figures. I was told they were called tough guys. I don't know if that came from my mom or my grandma or
Okay.
who, but I'd always known them as it was just one of the. You ever like when you're a kid call something a name and then realize later like that's not a thing. That's fake.
I
No one
wonder if
calls
like
these tough guys.
were Tough Guys like a brand?
There is now a brand called Tough
Got it.
Guys.
Okay.
Because when I look it up, that's all I find. And it's like
Right.
the Punisher, which,
Yeah.
sorry, I wasn't into the Punisher as a kid. Uh, but it's the same way. This is not a toy, but just remote controls. I grew up calling it a clicker. And that is
I
not
think that's
what
like
they're
a
called.
regional like
Maybe.
name for it though.
Oh no, that's not true. I even lied. There's another level to it. So remote control is what people call it. there is a regional thing where a lot of people call them clickers.
Right.
We called it a switcher. I grew up exclusively knowing it as a switcher.
I feel like that's also regional.
Maybe I never was able to really find any proof that other people called them switchers. I might have just grown up in a science experiment. Like, let's introduce all these weird words to this kid. Grab the switcher and your tough guy, and we're gonna watch. I don't know, Nick at Night. So would you say, for the most part, toy wise, you were soft over hard?
Yeah, I liked my toys like I like my clothes. Unbelievably soft.
Oh. Interesting. I was exclusively like hard toys for the most part, except for my stuffies I'd sleep with at night. But I also, as a kid, I would sleep in the bed with like 30 hard plastic toys. So I got.
And you're wondering why you don't sleep very well?
Maybe I need to. Yeah, that's just what I adjusted to. I need to get some like books, like camera lenses, a guitar.
Yeah.
Try sleeping with these things. See how it goes. Do you miss a stuffy? Like, I've bought like a goofy little teddy bear stuffed animal from a girlfriend for like Valentine's Day or something. But then every now and then you're sleeping and it's there, and I'm like, I can grab it, give it a little squeeze. Yeah, shit's nice. Why don't we? We should all still have teddy bears and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that I like slept in the bed with too many toys, but there is still like, so for my fiance's bridal shower, somebody bought and like gifted her a Beanie Baby that has like so the Beanie Babies on their little heart tags, they've got, their name, a little like rhyme about them, and also their birthday. And so this Beanie Baby's birthday is our wedding day. And so they gifted it that way. And so but now I'm like, it's been years since I've had any sort of like stuffed animal around, but now I'm like, I'm so excited. A perfect excuse to have this little Beanie Baby rabbit in our home.
Childhood.
Yeah.
It's funny because I will like you say, like, do kids even play with kids? Which, I mean, little kids, they play with toys. I buy my nieces and my nephew all sorts of toys. They love the shit. But on the flip side there, which we talked about in like collections episode or whatever, a lot of adults will be like, "No, I collect those toys now. I have a huge Beanie Baby collection. I have a huge action figure collection. I never open the boxes." Which, isn't that just the biggest like crux of life? Like, I still have genuinely hundreds of Star Wars action figures in my parents' attic, but they're beat to shit and out of the box. If they were all in the box, cool, hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah, I mean,
what do I care about more as an adult? Was it good for me to have played? Probably.
Yeah, I think yes. Undeniably. The answer is yes.
What if I was a very patient child?
Yeah, I mean, I guess maybe the like, in your case, the Star Wars element of a lot of your toys, maybe that'd become valuable. But like Beanie Babies were supposed to be like
everything
worth so much money in the future, and then they were not at all. So you could have, as a child, had that foresight of, oh, I'm gonna keep everything in the box so that I have a lot of money when I'm older, and then gotten older and then realized that nobody wants to buy those toys. So I think I think it's probably okay that you
it's probably true, and realistically
enjoyed your childhood.
I don't know if they are worth anything. Well, look this up. So my pride and joy, and granted, I say I had hundreds, but like, we didn't have a lot of money growing up.
Yeah.
I had what I had, and around birthdays, aunts and uncles and stuff would send money, and I could buy something,
Yeah.
as if I were buying it for myself, because it's my money now. And my
Uh-huh.
pride and joy was my Millennium Falcon toy, which I'm gonna look up and see how much that sells for now.
Was that the Millennium Falcon? My friend had a Millennium Falcon toy where it's like relatively big, and
Yeah.
then you can open it up, and
Oh
there's like the
yeah.
two halves of it. Okay.
Oh yeah. It's the good shit. No, no, in the realm of $1,000. A lot of these, less for the out of the box ones. So yeah, not nothing.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, so many of pretty much all of the, I'm just kind of talking, but looking through my notes, like so much of it is kind of related. I guess that's how we got here, related to, like in the drawing or the previous to drawing episode, talking about the Jar Jar Binks thing.
Yeah.
That age, because that is the awkward moments thing. That was that age. It was 11 and 12 and 13, like around that time was a very confusing time for me. Like, I still like toys.
Yes.
I think, and genuinely, it was the first time I've ever said that out loud. When I was 13-year-old, I still loved them. I love
Yeah.
that shit. But it did start to feel like I'm too old. You
Yes.
start getting to that point where like, ooh, girls are kind of interesting. Oh, they don't like this. they find this repulsive. Okay, so I still like this, but it's a secret.
Right.
That's like the Millennium Falcon in particular. I remember a point having it, going to my aunt and uncle's house, and my uncle, I had brought it with me. I think this was before that, so this was like early, maybe I'm 10, and I brought this thing with me, and I'm like, I don't want to sit around and talk with the adults. I want to play with my toys. So I brought a
Mm-hmm.
handful of toys. I'm playing with them, and my uncle came in, and he joined me. And he was fucking around with the toys with me. And I had a real cold, hard thought of like, is my uncle cool, or am I very lame? And he's being kind. And I don't know.
Mm.
I don't know.
Yeah, I do. I don't remember what age I was, but I do remember one of my like closest childhood friends. Um, I remember the day that he was kind of like, "No, I don't play with toys anymore, and therefore our friendship is done."
I play with basketballs and footballs.
Yes, exactly. Um, so I do kind of remember that same feeling of like, wait a minute, why?
Wait a sec.
Well, like, why are we stopping doing this thing that we've enjoyed like over and over for years?
We all agreed this was the best. And it
Yeah.
still is. Weirdly, that I forget why I brought him up. That same friend I brought up the other episode where we had kind of a falling out. Because he was that one that was very like, well, I guess there's a couple stories here. There was one where the X-Men movie came out. I was 12 when the X-Men movie came
Okay.
out. So this is back to back. People don't
Yeah.
talk about this enough. Phantom Menace 99, X-Men 2000. Nerdy kid, like, holy shit, what an exciting time. And my mom and I went and saw the X-Men in theaters. We both loved it. And those toys were cool as fuck. They came out with some really cool action figures for the X-Men movies. A little bigger, kind of like in between a Star Wars figure and a G.I. Joe. Oh man, cool shit. But then when I was like, so I had a bunch of those, but then when I was like 13 or so, whatever, like I'm in middle school, and I think it was like right before Christmas break, and my friend got me one. First off, we didn't agree we were getting each other gifts. I think that was my first experience with that, where I was also old enough to be like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, that's
I don't have anything for
I
you.
don't like that.
I hate this. And he gave me one of these X-Men toys at school, at middle school, where everything's terrible and awkward. And so I had a toy with me. And I'm like, I don't know what to do because I have to be really secret about, I love this because I did. But I put it in my locker and I just like hid it away. But weirdly, he was the same. It was the same guy who had come over to my place before that when we were younger. And I had what it was from Dragon Ball Z, a Frieza toy. Another decently sized toy. And I'm like, this guy's cool as shit. What a cool toy. Yeah. And we had a golden retriever border collie mix named Chelsea at the time. And my window opened up to the backyard. And he thought it was so fucking funny. He's grabbed that toy and he's like, check this out. Chucks it out the window. My dog runs and grabs it, brings it back. He picks it up, chucks it again. Every time it came back, and granted, he was right. Every time it came back, that toy looked funnier and funnier because the dog chewed the fuck out of it.
Yeah.
And I was torn between like, I can't deny. Hand to God, this is funny. Please stop breaking my things.
Yes.
It was a fraught relationship. My best friend at the time. So I don't know. I just had a weird relationship with my toys, I think. And now I find myself in the spot of looking at people collecting Funko Pops and being like, what bunch of lamos. Because I've turned into the bully.
Yeah.
I'm the lame bully with no fun.
Yeah. I mean, you and I have talked about this before, but like 99% of Funko Pops are like the ugliest thing I've ever seen. So I've seen a couple of them where I'm like, okay, I like that one, but like the ratio between the two is a massive.
I think I get the idea because they all look like the same, so it looks good in a collection, and it would be exciting if they came out with like I was just rewatching all the Alien movies. It's like, oh, a little Xenomorph, a little Ripley. Yeah. Add those to, I get it. Then you've got a collection that like represents the movies and TV shows, pop culture you like.
Yeah.
Still pretty fucking lame. Babies.
Yeah. I mean, I mentioned this
not really
in the collections episode, but I was really into collecting because this also came from the Funko Corporation. This predates Funko Pops by many years.
Ooh.
But they had what were called wacky wobblers, which were just bobbleheads of like pop culture like characters and stuff.
Okay, fine.
And I loved those because they were just like
wobbler.
They were just like the character, but it was a bobblehead. You know, it wasn't like, and they all look the same. They all have big black voids for eyes. Like, no, they're just the character that was a bobblehead.
I see. I'm looking at them now. Yeah, I definitely. I feel like they'd sell them at like Target and shit like that. Definitely seen these before.
Loved the stuff. Great. But that collection needed to stop because one year my Christmas list was just like exclusively all the bobbleheads I wanted. And my mom was like, nobody in the family is going to get you any of these. So
no.
You need to pick another thing that you want.
Pick a nice shirt.
Yeah, exactly.
Grown up.
Exactly. So I do feel like I remember some of that pressure too, like aside from friends, but also from family being like, come on.
Yeah.
It's time to grow up. And when I stopped playing with toys, but I still had them all in my closet, I definitely remember the pressure from my mom being like, we gonna get rid of all of this, please? It's like, no.
Yeah.
I grew up on the Toy Story movies. I don't feel comfortable throwing all of this somewhere else.
Valid point, which is maybe why my toys are still in my parents' attic.
I think
And still they mentioned to me, like, you gotta get those out of there.
yeah. There is like,
I will.
I think I donated a good handful of them, but I think I was able to still, use the notion of like, but then I can give them to my children,
Yeah.
as a way to keep some of them. But I don't know how many of them I still am in possession of.
Yeah, I mean, there's been talk of like my like, oh yeah, if my nephew gets very into, or any of my niece views, the word I like to use, any of my niece
Oh.
views get big into Star Wars and want some of those, they're happy. I'd be happy to share them, but to just get rid of them, I don't know why that'd be so tough.
Do you mentioned that you've purchased toys for your niece Fuse,
This is true.
and that your uncle came and played with toys with you.
One time.
Have you played with toys with your niece Fuse?
Oh yeah. Oh, aplenty. My nephew has genuinely maybe 1,000 monster trucks. So that's a lot of it. A lot of racing around. But here's the thing. You know what? And I loved this shit as a child too. But like as an adult, hey, it's fun. It is kind of fun to get to play with kids' toys again.
Yeah.
And I think the parents of these kids appreciate having. This is why I'm like, it's slow. People are slow to appreciate the sibling that it doesn't have kids and may not have kids. It's like there's a childlike excitement to be like, yeah, I will go play with toys with your kids. I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. We should have Evan over more often. I'm like racing around the thing on my hands and knees, like, hurting my body. But it's like, it is fun to kind of go back and be a kid for a sec. And I'm good at it. I'm like, I know
the sound that trucks make.
I know
Meow,
what trucks
meow.
make. But the other day, it's like we have a blast playing with the like monster trucks, racing them, crashing them into shit, stuff like that. Oh man, he also has these remote control cars that are so fucking cool. I drive those around. Oh, chase him. It's fun. But still, the other day, the hardest I've ever made him laugh, and we were having so much fun. It's just fucking shadow puppets. It's like,
oh yeah,
you can't. Sometimes you can't beat a shadow puppet. I don't know. I'm cheap.
Like this isn't a toy, obviously, but like I do remember, and I still like get a little bit excited when I come across one. But like the big cardboard wrapping paper tubes, when you've like used all the wrapping paper and you've just got a big cardboard tube to swing around and to look through as a big telescope, or to use it like one of those vuvuzelas and make noise into it. God, that's just so good.
But then there was the curse of a greener world, where you get to the middle of that and it just like unspools. It's just loose paper.
Yeah.
That's not worth saving the earth. Think of the children. That's what we need to write a like "We Are the World" type of song. That's like, think of the children when it comes to saving the earth. They like to play.
They like to play
cardboard
with trash
and plastics. Trash. Yes, there is something to that. Also, I mentioned my girlfriend that I have to go. We got to go to the dump. I'm bringing it up again.
Yeah,
we go to the dump every other week or so. And I took a little video because this woman driving I can't think of what they call it, like a cat, a tractor, but not like a crane kind of.
Yeah.
Up a mountain of garbage to flatten it. And I'm just like, that looks like so much fun. And I took a video of this and showed it to my nephew because I'm like, he's going to fucking love this. And I'm like, yeah, I want to take my nephew to the dump. He'd lose his fucking mind. Long story. I think I'm rambling in a weird direction, but I'm just like, toys are, when you're a kid, they're everything, but at the same time, there's other stuff. I mean,
Dude,
the
when you
dump and
get
shadow
like,
puppets.
if your family gets like a new refrigerator or a new
Ooh,
TV before they were all like really flat screens,
yeah,
and you get a gigantic cardboard box. Yes!
love
People
it.
always talk about how cats love
Kids love,
garbage. Hey, kids love that shit too.
yeah, and then you know what else they love? Plastic bags.
Yeah.
Let them put their hands in plastic bags. It's a blast. JK, this is satire. Yeah, no, there's something awesome about, I mean, genuinely, so much of my this sunset. So preface it with what I already said. I had a lot of toys, and I had a lot of fun with those toys. But I also just had so much fucking fun with sticks.
Yeah, do
We've had so many
sticks.
cool sticks in our backyard.
Yes.
I
Dude,
don't know.
I had like this gigantic stick. It was like taller than me,
Mm, hell
and
yeah,
it
wizard
was like
staff.
it was basically, because at the top it like split into two prongs.
Dope.
Oh my god, it
Mm,
was so awesome. And so I would like keep it in the backyard, and then if my friends and I went hiking on the mountain behind the house, like I'd take it up there as my wizard staff.
awesome.
Um, but I could definitely tell my parents were kind of like, why are we keeping
It's
this
important.
big stick in in our yard?
It's important to me.
Exactly. I kept it out of the way. Like
Yeah.
it was kept it on the side of the house, whatever. Was there ever a toy that you really wanted as a child but never got? Maybe one of your friends had it, or maybe
Oh
you just saw
no.
the commercials for it.
Oh boy, here we go. Uh, there was which I eventually did get this, which makes me sound like a spoiled little brat.
Yeah.
But that's not how it felt at the time. But well, being a kid, going to Toys R Us, that's as cool as life got. That was so much fun, just walking around Toys R Us. Uh, and I don't know if this was as because it's one of those toys that's like it's pretty fucking dangerous. So I don't know if it was still as much a thing, but it was like the boy version of Easy Bake Oven, which was creepy crawlers. It was a little oven that would make bugs essentially.
Okay.
Like so you're unlike just the Easy Bake Oven where you can burn yourself. With creepy crawlers, you're also using harsh chemicals to melt plastics and make worms. And
Cool.
I want, actually, you know what it was? I think I already had this, loved it, made so many creepy crawlers. And then we did a trip to Toys R Us, and I wanted some more harsh chemicals to make
Yeah.
more creepy crawlers. And my mom said no. And I am told I had a little bit of a meltdown in the middle of Toys R Us, and I remember I had to go sit in the van by myself. Very safe.
Yeah. It's a different time.
Sitting in there, just crying my fucking eyes out because I couldn't have any harsh chemicals. Kids today can't relate. I wanted to make my own toys. I was a toy maker. Funny bunch of details, but that was big. But as far as something a friend had that I did not have, which is also one of those, like, it's not like I ever asked for it really. But Stretch Armstrong was pretty fucking cool. My friend had
Yeah.
one of those. I never did. I always wanted to test it. How far can I stretch it? So I would stretch my friends.
I'm trying to think of like the commercials and stuff that I would see on TV all the time for toys.
Now you popped
Um
one in my head.
I mean, I remember like um Rock'em Sock'em Robots
Ooh, hell yeah.
and whatever the like inflatable fists were that you like put over your fists, and then they're like,
Yeah.
things that
Punch each other.
Yeah, exactly. I had friends who had those. I was never like super into those. Um, there were of course moon shoes.
That was a big one I never had.
I don't know. I don't know that there were a ton of commercials that I saw where I was like, "Oh, I really want to have that." There were probably a couple like squirt gun commercials or like maybe even Nerf gun commercials where I was like,
Yeah.
"That'd be awesome." And my parents were like, "You'd probably use that like once and get bored of it," which is true. I got much more out of the imagination toys as opposed to the
Yeah.
like violent toys.
My parents were very ahead of the curve on that specific one, where they were just like, not you can never play with guns, but like even plastic guns, watch it, buddy.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of weird, you're
Yeah.
pretending to kill someone. So it's like, but that was a level of like, yeah, I never had any of the big squirt guns and Nerf guns and shit like that, so that always seemed appealing, which
Yeah.
it is still. I would love that. I want a big Nerf gun. Shoot all
Yeah.
the Airbnbers around here when they're coming in. Now, what you popped into my head as far as commercials goes was Crossfire. The game Crossfire, you get caught up in the. You don't know that commercial?
That sounds
Vaguely
familiar, but I don't know what the product is, but that does sound familiar.
It was a really cool like hair metal song, but it was like you and 4 friends. Imagine.
Already, I'm like, this is why I watch TV, for the escapism.
But you're like on each side of it, and you've got these like, it's like there's a spinny top in the middle, I think, and you're shooting marbles at it maybe, and that makes it spin faster. There's something like that happening.
Yeah.
And you're competing.
This does sound familiar.
I don't remember how it worked. I played it once in a KB Toys, and like every cool commercial toy you see, bit of a letdown. It's not as cool as it looks.
Not nearly as cool as it is in the commercial.
But man, that commercial worked more than any toy commercial I can remember. Like I wanted that so bad.
Have you, or I guess has anybody else gifted your nieces and nephews a toy where the parents are like, "Why the fuck did you do this to me?"
Certainly. That happened this past Christmas. And it was I remember being a kid and getting a fire truck, I think from that same uncle. That uncle, hey, he wants to have fun, and I appreciate it. He was
uncles
cool.
just want to have fun.
Is. Uncles just want to have fun. But he got me a fire truck that like made all sorts of god awful alarm noises or siren noises. And I remember being that young and hearing my parents being like, I can't believe he got him that. Like, oh my god, it's so loud, it's so bad. And so yeah, that definitely happened with my niece recently. I forget what it was, some sort of like gopher or some battery operated gopher or something like that just goes like just makes all sorts of crazy noises. And as the childless one, it's like, man, I love this, and I get to leave at the end of the day.
Yeah, at Thanksgiving we saw my fiance's cousins and their like very young children, and the youngest one had this like battery operated crab that like shimmies
so cool.
across the floor.
I love it.
And like sings a song and makes little like wah, 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 like crab noises. And it was kind of like, oh, this is kind of like a fun little toy. But it like, even by the end of Thanksgiving, I was like, man, this would be annoying as hell.
Yeah, this gets old. Because kids don't get tired of shit like that very quickly.
No.
They could do it 100 times a day for months.
Yep.
No problem. Ay, ay, ay.
As a former skateboarder,
Oh, yeah.
Evan, were you big into the tech deck dudes?
Oh, fuck yeah. Tech Deck's back, baby.
I know.
My nephew has some tech decks, so I was playing with those with him. I was like, we played with these in my day. But what are the dudes? Who are the tech deck dudes?
They're like little dudes that go on
I
to
don't
the
know these
boards.
guys.
Yeah,
I just
they're
had the
like,
boards.
oh yeah, they're these little like figures. I don't think they move at all or are posable. I think they just like
I'll look these up too.
they have their like arms up in like that like uh flexing their arms, I think, and then they go
That's how
on,
I always skateboarded.
and then you just put them on the board instead of using your fingers.
Oh, they're literally called tech deck dudes.
Yeah, of course they are.
Okay, these guys are cool.
I don't know if it was the same company or not, but they kind of have. I talked about this in the collections episode, I'm sure, but the toy Mighty Beans.
Yes, they do
I
look
definitely
similar.
had a bunch of Mighty Beans, but I never. I don't know what you were supposed to use them for.
The best kind of toys.
It seems like the whole thing was like, you can throw them around and no matter what, they're gonna pop back up.
Yeah,
But
hey,
I just used like the imagination element of it, of like, here are all these cool looking like personalities, and now I'm gonna create, stories for them to interact and talk to each other.
hell yeah.
But yeah, that was that it goes back to the same thing of the imagination.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we do have one listener uh story here.
Concern.
Concern, I guess. Yeah, somebody bringing something forward. Because on
A listener
Instagram,
allegation.
but for any listeners who don't know, every week before Evan and I record,
Yeah,
we'll put a little thing on Instagram.
it's true.
I think it also goes to our Facebook stories,
Oh, it
but like,
does.
who's on Facebook?
Hey,
Um,
everybody.
but on I create them on Instagram,
Yes.
and just kind of farming for content, so that we can include you in the conversation. And so I was, putting a bunch of questions up there about childhood toys, if there were toys that you wished you had, what were your favorite toys, and then also for parents, I was like, you know, what have you gotten for your children, or what do your children like to currently play with? And listener Drew Maraca on
Mm.
Instagram uh, commented to say that he and his wife will like buy back their 90s childhood toys,
Ooh.
and that their kids love them. Lots of Legos, dolls, lead paint toys, probably.
There's something to that. Like, I think that's absolutely what my brother-in-law is up to with my nephew right now, is buying a lot of the toys he played with when he was a kid. Speaking of skateboards, they already bought him a full-size skateboard. So they're priming this kid
Yeah.
to be to be very cool in his teen years.
Yes. Yeah.
Speaking of worlds like that, though, like just getting back into the kind of the psychology of it, like what the fuck is wrong with me? What am I doing? Why don't I just enjoy playing with toys? Because that would feel insane right now as an adult if I had a couple of action figures and was like, hey, hey, hey. This is what all my improv scenes were like. And if someone didn't say hey back to me, I'm lost. But you almost like
you should play with your action figures, but invite like one of our old improv coaches to just sit there and watch and to stop you every time you're playing.
Oh, okay. That's like a YouTube series. Improv coach coaching kids playing with their action figures. That's pretty funny. Now, he didn't really accept his invitation there. So the scene's over already. It's dead. But I kind of like.
What's unusual about this scene with this talking sheep and this tech deck dude?
Think about all this stuff at the same
Think
time.
about what's weird here.
But also, just follow the funny. Follow what I think is funny. Anyways, what I'm trying to say is, there's my bathrobe. I've been missing this thing for a while.
God.
I couldn't find it. We'll borrow it up here, I guess. So happy to have that back. These are my toys now. But I think because I feel so weird about that, and I don't want to like collect toys that I used to have or anything like that, I find those things that you can categorize as like, it is okay for an adult to have that. Like when our friend Derek got me back into buying baseball cards. All of a sudden, I'm not buying any baseball cards anymore. I'm kind of over it. But it was like, while I was doing it, that was so much fun. It was just a little trip back to being a kid. And a lot of the things that I do that with is stuff from my past, from when I was a kid, that it's like, I didn't even enjoy that as a kid. And I just did a big version of this that I'm fucking thrilled about. You could even say I'm jazzed about it.
We're waiting for the punchline, and there it is.
I bought a trumpet. I played the trumpet. In elementary school and like half of middle school. And I never really enjoyed playing the trumpet. And the more I looked into it, the more I'm like, yeah, I didn't have a very good trumpet. It was like the valves would stick, and I didn't take very good care of it. And I didn't listen to any music that had a trumpet in it. And now I'm like, oh yeah, no, I love jazz. And it sucks that I wish if I had never stopped playing trumpet, I'm like, I would be genuinely very fucking good right now. So I just got this a couple days ago. I don't know. This is what I like. I categorize this as like something from my childhood that's okay to buy as an adult.
Sure, yeah.
I'd put baseball cards in there. I have a yo-yo. I think that's okay. An adult can have a yo-yo, right?
Yeah, I think so. I hope that you can play the HowDoWeHuman theme at the end of the episode on that instrument.
God. Might be a lot of cut together single notes. The old airflow isn't as strong as it used to be. But yeah, I don't know.
And I don't know how much of this is true, but I don't know. Like it does feel strange as an adult to have some of those childhood toys.
Yeah.
But I don't know, like, if a girl has a childhood like stuffed animal,
yeah,
it's like, yeah, of course. Hey, that's endearing.
I love it. I love it.
But if you have one of your tough guys on your nightstand, it's like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy?
Got a little plastic Hulk Hogan. You're like, why? I think that's my big takeaway for this episode. We do got to start wrapping up, but I think my big takeaway is like, find that thing for you. And I'm realizing a big one for me is video games, which I've gotten more and more into in the past like 5 years. I just bought a PS5, having a blast with the thing. And I think that's my little grasp onto childhood thing of like, I can play as many video games as I want now.
Yeah.
I have free roam to just go nuts with the thing. I can buy whatever game I want. It can be violent. I had Mortal Kombat taken away from me at a certain point because my neighbor put in the blood code, so blood was coming out, and my mom did not care for that at all.
Yeah, okay.
Got in trouble. But I can play Mortal Kombat now, Ma. Unless you come over to visit, in which case I won't. But find your thing. Find your little connection to your childhood, because it makes you fucking happy. If that's a trumpet, If that's a Beanie Baby, go for it. And if you are one of those people that it's like, it is just like Funko Pops and shit like that, cool. Don't let me bully you. I'm lame as fuck.
Yeah.
I bought a
Well,
trumpet.
I'm never coming over to your house anyway. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah. I don't know. Band geek for life.
Something that I also hope makes you happy is this podcast. You can listen to it on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, on Amazon Music, Pocket Casts, HowDoWeHuman.com, anywhere that you get your podcasts.
Valid.
You can rate, review, comment, subscribe. There are new episodes every single Monday.
Yeah.
We haven't missed a week in 250 weeks straight.
Pretty killer. I didn't even mention that. 250.
Yeah, this is episode 250.
No joke.
Congratulate us. You know what we want for our 250th
Yes.
episode? Some new goddamn reviews.
That's true. We've said it before, but hey, I can see the numbers. There's a shit ton of you listening. You're not doing shit. But you keep listening. I think you like us. Reach out. We'll talk back to you, and not in a scary way. You can even
Reach out, rate us.
reach out and touch us. You can comment on there. BT Dubs. I don't want to reply. That's fine. We don't have to talk back to you, but we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah,
Always
we
the
would.
thrill.
And different ways that you can also let us hear from you is by reaching out on our social media. I mean, as mentioned, we are always looking for stories and opinions and thoughts for each episode. You can find us on Instagram at HowDoWeHuman.
We got that handle.
Check us out on Facebook at HowDoWeHuman.
Yeah, I don't think you're ready for that handle.
YouTube at HowDoWeHuman.
I don't think you can handle it.
Or you can just send us a good old email to howdowehumanpod@gmail.com.
The best part of that handle is that it's on email.
And as we mentioned a couple episodes ago, we are now doing a little trivia here at the end of these episodes. We're trying a new trivia site. It's going to give us 5 questions, Evan, with multiple choice.
Okay, quizzle.
We'll have to, of course, decide which one we choose on here, but we don't necessarily have to unanimously come to a decision if we don't want. We'll just keep a separate score. But this first question, which monarch has a place named after them on every continent? Queen Elizabeth II, King George VI, King Henry VIII, or Queen Victoria? I have an instinct, but I don't know.
I have it between 2.
Okay. I'm leaning towards Queen Victoria.
So that was one of mine, and I think for competition's sake, I'm going to lean towards King George.
Okay.
Although I worry, is that the Mad King? But there's a lot of Victorias and Georgias and Georgetowns and stuff like that.
That's true, yeah.
That's my...
all right.
Sticking with George.
Let's see what happens. Because it's on my screen, I'm just going to click whichever one I pick. But
bias
with the knowledge that if it's King George, then of course that's a point for you.
We know that. Damn it.
All right, it highlighted green, so I'm going to assume that means it's correct.
I guess. We'll see.
Which author wrote the Winnie the Pooh books? Roald Dahl, A.A. Milne, Judy Blume, or Eric Carle? I don't know about you, Evan, but I know the answer to this.
I know the answer to this, too, and I hope we agree.
I hope so, too.
Oh, A.A. Milne.
Alcoholics Anonymous Milne.
Oh, A.A. All right.
Bubble wrap was originally designed to be what? Wallpaper, flooring, insoles, or blankets?
Any of these answers is fascinating.
It is.
I like the space age idea that they were designed to be blankets. That like what's the retrofuturism? It was that like
Yeah.
way back when they were like, these are the blankets of the future, and that must keep you warm because it's got pockets in it. I'm just going with blankets because it's fun.
Okay, my
Flooring
instinct
seems
is,
like a terrible idea.
yeah, my instinct is insoles. I
Okay.
feel like they were designing them to be insoles and then realized like no matter what they did,
Yeah.
the insoles would crush.
And it was fun.
And it was fun, and they were like, "This is better." So
Yeah.
another great childhood toy, by the way. When
Oh,
you get
yeah.
something that has bubble wrap in it,
Love it.
much
To
more
this
exciting than
day.
whatever the package is. All right, I have no idea on this one, but I'm gonna click on insoles. I think it's probably gonna be wrong, so hopefully it highlights whatever is right.
Yeah, we'll see.
We were both wrong. Wallpaper was the answer.
Interesting.
All right. Which U.S. president signed the treaty to purchase Alaska from Russia? Abraham Lincoln, James Garfield, Andrew Johnson, Chester Arthur.
James Garfield hated Mondays. Abraham Lincoln's on the penny. Chester Arthur is an aardvark. Gotta be Johnson.
Yeah. I can't argue with this logic. Who's the latest president in this?
Oh, don't do
in this
that.
order.
Don't do that to us. I don't remember Chester Arthur. I vaguely know the name, but even when we did like the president thing, I don't remember that name as a president. So I'm guessing Chester Arthur might have been later because we know those early names and we know those modern names, but those in-betweeners.
Yeah. Garfield had like
Chester
a short presidency, so I don't think that it's him. And Andrew Johnson, I guess it could be Andrew Johnson. I'll agree with you, Evan. I'm going to say Andrew Johnson as well.
Second guess would be Chester Arthur.
Andrew Johnson, correct. Good job, Evan.
I knew it.
And good job to me for piggybacking on that answer.
Yeah.
What metal impurity makes rubies red and emeralds green? Iridium, nickel, chromium, or iron?
Damn. I'm going to... I want to answer 3 of these. And realistically, the answer is probably the one I'm not guessing. I'm going to guess... Iridium.
Okay, my guess is chromium, and I don't even know if that's a real metal impurity.
Chromium was the one that I was not selecting, so we'll see.
Is that because you feel like it's too obvious?
No, I don't know.
Okay.
Nickel, iron, I both of those I kind of think of as like tinting things a certain way. Iridium, sure. I don't know, it makes me think of neon lights and shit. I know it's not related, but I'm going with iridium. But you pick chromium.
All right. This is our last question, and if it is iridium, that means you and I tie with 3
this
points.
Is thrilling. Let's go.
It was chromium.
Was the one I didn't want to pick. I knew it. All right, you take game 1.
All right, that is game number 1.
Hey, that's fun. I'm down to do that again.
Yeah, that was a good time, and I hope that anyone playing along at home enjoyed it as well. And I hope that y'all stick around for future games to see how the trivia pans out.
This rivalry is gonna be intense.
It is heating up.
Well, I gotta go.
Yeah.
So
you gotta go, okay? Bye.
I gotta go, okay? Bye.